Hi, so I finally got around to doing another little update with the Havoc Demon Hunter after, quite a long time. I finally got it up to level 110, decided to go into a dungeon, try out the talents the way they are now. And here are the fruits of that labour. Now, if you want to skip past a couple of bits, just open up the comments. I've put a couple of timestamps in there, although it's not the longest of videos. And in actual fact, you might well miss something if you do that, but there's the option if that's what you want. And the first thing to note is that Blizzard are absolutely determined that you're going to have fun on your Demon Hunter. I'm just off to my order hall, which is over there. Which, of course, you can absolutely make use of your mobility options to get to it. And there on my party, and I just climb up a bunch of steps near the inn. So I've just been into a dungeon with Havoc Demon Hunter for the first time in quite a while. I haven't done an update on this for a long time. Partly the reason for that has been that the Havoc Demon Hunter has been quite stable. Blizzard obviously really early on had a good idea of what they wanted to do with the class and the spec. And they haven't really done a great deal other than sometimes moving talents about. The actual talents themselves hadn't changed very much, or so I thought at first glance. Now, this is the talent spec I've been into the dungeon for. I'm going to show you that dungeon gameplay in a moment. If you're a bit impatient, of course, you can click on the timestamp in the comments below. But it's worth pointing out, there's a couple of things I had beef with before. If you watched updates from many, well, I suppose months ago now, you won't even remember. I hardly remember. One was soul rending. Now, what this does is when you're in Metamorphosis, which is your main offensive cooldown, then you get 100% leech. Now, obviously, that's too overpowered. That's just like, you can stand in all sorts of shit and do your damage and heal yourself up to full. I mean, that can't stay at that. But the fact that it's got leech on it, should we say. Now, I didn't like that at all because Metamorphosis is my offensive cooldown, and that's what I'm going to use it for. I should not be thinking of it as being defensive, and I don't like defensive abilities being attached to it. However, and very much in line with Blizzard's synergy between certain talents, there is something else that had sort of crept in and I hadn't really noticed. And this is the talent Demonic. Now, Demonic I panned initially because it had this chance to turn to your demon form on I-Beam and something else as well, I forget. And I thought, well, that's a bit crap, really. But I've just dinged level 110. I finally got up there. I thought, I'll give it another go. I haven't been on the Demon Hunter for ages. And it is the spec I want to use as my main alt in Legion anyway. And now read it, and I go, I-Beam causes you to enter demon form for 5 seconds. As in, it just straight away does it. It used to, as I say, have a chance to do it on either I-Beam or, in fact, I think it was Chaos Nova. But now it's guaranteed, so you can actually predict this. You can use your I-Beam, and you know you're going to turn into the demon form. Another issue I had with it, as I read the tooltip, it's like, well, you use your I-Beam. Well, that's channeled, so it's all right turn into a demon for 5 seconds. The channel wears off, you've got no time with it. It pretty much begins from when the channel ends, so you are going to get your full 5 seconds use out of it. And again, it synergizes with this, because it means I can use I-Beam. I'm not saying defensively as such, but because I-Beam has a much shorter cooldown every 45 seconds, and you will use it because it's high damage ability, it means if you've got some lost health, well, you're going to get that back. So what I'll do, I'll just build up a bit of Fury here just to show you. So we'll get some Fury build up, use I-Beam, turn into the demon form, wait for the channel turn, and I can use that. And you can see on the left-hand side, with my scrolling battle text, the heal. Obviously, I'm not getting actual healing because I'm at full health. But you can see that it's working then as well. So it's not just having to use the Metamorphosis, which is this cooldown here, which I've now wasted. Well done. But it's also the demon form that you get by having the talent Demonic. So I really like this. And this is the talent set I've gone with as well in this dungeon. But I'll tell you something else. Another talent I wasn't very happy about before was Demon Blaze. Simply because what it does is it removes your Demon's Bite, which is the ability that allows you to generate your fury with which you use most of your other abilities, or at least a good half of them, for just auto-attacking, generating it. And it was just always very weak. And I understood, like, people saying, well, I'd quite like it because it can be quite a busy rotation, and it can. There's, it's quite rapid fire. And it would just give you one button fewer that you have to spam to press. But the problem is it has to return you a reasonable amount of fury. I didn't felt it did that. Well, I just had a look when I come here. So I put it on now. So this is just an auto attack now, so forget about that. It's actually generated fury at a pretty good rate. It's still really awkward, the fact that I have no real control over it. I don't like that aspect, so I'm not sure I'll be a huge fan myself. But there is no argument with the fact it is generating it at a reasonable rate now. So the people who like that talent from the point of view of they don't want too frantic a play style, a rotation, even that looks like it's working really well now. So here we are in the dungeon, Northarian's Lair, and wouldn't you know it, the other two DPS are both Retribution Paladins. It's like Blizzard are rubbing my face into something. I know it's randomly generated. I keep telling myself it's randomly generated. But it is curious here. Unfortunately, they're not using their blessings properly. I should have 2 greater blessings of might on me. They don't seem to know that I'd be doing massive amounts of damage for them with that. Now, in terms of the way it all works here, I'm sticking to a set of talents as the whole way through this dungeon. I'm not changing them at all. Not just out of kindness for these paladins in case they ever did decide to give me Blessing of Might, which they don't, but because I just want to see, like with all the classes, I like to think to myself, for a dungeon, is it possible to have a set of talents which will actually do you for bosses and trash reasonably well, so you're not having to mess about all the time changing talents? And the answer seems to be pretty much yes. I've gone for ones that would be largely considered single target talents. I mean, Bloodlet has some AoE use as well, but it's a good coverall. I mean, don't look at the damage. I say this on the Retribution Paladin videos as well. Don't look at the damage at the moment, although I say it on those videos for some slightly different reason. There's tuning still has to happen. There is no way in hell that the damage is going to stay as it is like this. It's mostly just focusing on the gameplay. And what's the gameplay like? Well, the gameplay is pretty good. It's nice and rapid fire. People have sort of complained about sort of simplistic play style. I think it sort of is. But like I say, that the talents synergize really well with each other. I think that's where some of the interesting aspects of the spec come from. And some people, maybe, I like that. I actually really like it when talents synergize. On the Rep Paladin, the talents really act in isolation with each other. They don't really help each other out. I'm not saying it's definitely a good mechanic. I can see why some people might not like it as much, because let's say someone particularly likes a talent, they want to take that talent, okay, great. And then there's another one they really like, but it doesn't synergize as well with something that's a much more obvious choice in a different row. So there might be people who don't particularly like this, but I do. I like it when you pick this talent, oh, that works really well with this talent, and then maybe this talent as well. Not necessarily all the way down, but at least 2 or 3 of them working really well with each other in a particular situation, and maybe changing around those combinations, I think is really good. So on to the first boss, and this one is a pretty straightforward one. I won't have to move away from the boss. I did not mean to do that. And what I'm trying to do here, not saying this is definitely the right thing to do, is use my I-beam, use up the benefit of my demonic, and then I want to go into Metamorphosis and use that cooldown. Because remember, Metamorphosis isn't going to buff my I-beam, so use it in between I-beam cooldowns. Might be the way to go with this. And of course, this is giving me I can stand in all sorts of shit here, as I say, and get healing, because it's 100% leech. I'm doing loads of damage. Because I'm overtuned, and because Metamorphosis is, as I say, 100% leech. Both of those things will change come live, so you'll not be doing this in live, because one, our damage will be much more respectable, which means down. But also, they're not going to keep that leech at 100%. I'm surprised they've kept it at 100% for as long as they have. As I say, the Havoc Demon Hunter has been very, very stable. There's only really been tweaks and tuning has happened for the last few months, unlike some specs that have changed out of all recognition. So I do find it strange that they still haven't done something like, just for the hell of it, knock it down to 50% and see what the result of that is. But on that particular boss, it was much more fair as well, because my movement wasn't really needed. So I'm not really getting that much benefit. On other bosses where sort of movement is much more of a thing, I would expect a much bigger advantage. And you can already see, I mean, the amount of damage being done there. But it's, as I say, it's overtuned. Isn't it overtuned by a hell of a lot? Come on, Blizzard, sort it out. And if you look at the logs, I have uploaded the logs and I put a link in the comments. You can actually see it's virtually all from Blade Dance. I mean, ooh. Now, again, with the talents I've taken here, we're really good at stopping this thing, because I've got 2 stuns. I've got single target stun, which also does a load of damage. It's actually part of DPS rotation. And an AoE stun, which they've taken the talent, which means it has no resource cost and shorter cooldowns. You can use that as well. Really useful tools. The Demon Hunter, of course, is going to be laden with pretty good utility, because, you know, it's got the 2 stun. The AoE stun is particularly useful because it's not going to cost a resource if you take that particular talent. I'm not going to say that's definitely the one to take in all situations. But if you've got to use an AoE stun in a fight, on part of a rotation, on a raid fight especially, it's really useful to have no resource cost, because you don't have to, a few seconds before it's your turn, make sure you're building up your fury. And obviously movement will add for that as well, if there's anything where you have to run out really quickly and interact with something, or just move out of certain mechanics and then move back in as quickly as possible to maintain high DPS uptime. You're going to be really good at that on a Demon Hunter. Excuse me, voice still going, still a bit ill. And it's just really pretty good. Self-healing is, or generally speaking, on the face of it, the major weakness, but in reality it's not a weakness, because this combination of using Metamorphosis, having the Leech, as well as Demonic, which means that you get a mini Metamorphosis every time you I-beam, means that you're not healing to order, but if every 45 seconds when you're using your I-beam you need a bit of healing, you're giving yourself a bit of healing. Totally free as well, you're not having to stop there and cast. It's all part of your DPS rotation. Really good, and you can see off here again, taking advantage of the stuns. No one else is really bothered about this guy. I'm going to stop him drumming. I can't actually remember how serious it is if you let him get his drums off. But again, I've got all those stuns that I can use to stop him doing that. Blade Dance, I've got the traits on the artifacts, and I have got those maxed out, which means they do more damage the more mobs there are around you as well. So although I've got the talent to increase its damage on your primary targets, that's a single target use. Then Blade Dance becomes useful in a single target situation, does a lot of damage. But it also means in an AoE situation it's doing a lot of extra damage as well if there are more mobs there. Absolutely fantastic. And again, it's just such a contrast to my Retribution Paladin. It's like all the opposite. But I think I'll leave a couple of points about that for the next rep video. Do notice here I'm taking a lot of damage. I shouldn't be. I'm not really entirely sure why, because the last time I did this dungeon wasn't that long ago with my Paladin. I was not taking damage like this. So I'm not sure. I'm not having aggro. Maybe they've just added a couple of things in those landfall things. What things I should be moving out of. I don't know. Don't know. But again, melee, I'm not going to be moving out. So on to the second boss, and my aim on this one will be to try and use as many of my cooldowns as I can between the times at which he's not attackable. I'm not sure I'm going to get the whole of Metamorphosis off. I still want to do the I-beam thing first, then use Metamorphosis and try and increase my damage at that point. Again, taking low, oh, still taking damage there. I need to move out of that. Never mind, I don't do these dungeons often enough. At this point I know it's going to start becoming unattackable quite soon, so I don't think I'm going to get the full use of it. No, never mind. Now I need to step back a little bit and have a little look. Where is he? Where's he? Where's he? Keep an eye on the thing. Oh, well, have I lost it? No, I haven't. I thought I'd lost it then. There he is, there he is, there he is, there he is. There he is. He moved. There we go. And again, nice move. So you can stand well back and then move in really quickly. As my paladin, just like those two, I sort of feel compelled to be in the middle and try and swing my camera around so that I'm close to it when it finishes off. There we go, sorted out that quickly. It's always nice when the group all agrees on which one it is. And again, the I-beam, it just lines up so nicely on this particular fight. Nice little heal there as well while you've got it active for those 5 seconds. And it is really good, because I say when I read it first of all, before really trying it properly, on the old version of Demonic, I thought, well, if you're wasting a load of it while it's channeling, but it's not, it's sort of activating. You get your full 5 seconds after your I-beam has finished channeling. And I have got the talent that increases the channel time as well by 50% to get extra damage off I-beam. But again, if you look at the logs, you will see it ain't I-beam doing the damage at the moment. It is Blade Dance. That's what Blizzard are going to have a little look at there. And Blade Dance is a funny one. It might be a tricky-ish one to tune, because with the talent I've got, it's a single target ability and a very good one, but it is also AoE, and it does more AoE damage the more mobs there are. I mean, I'm no theory crafter, but that to me sounds like a bit of a recipe for a nightmare to, oh hello, tank's dead, run away, vengeful retreat, kite, bit, oh good, dead. Oh dear, how did the tank die there? Still taking loads of damage in these melee situations. Ouch, ooh. Remembered I've got blur, I've not been using this. 35% less damage taken for a good 10 seconds, really nice. As well as dodge if I needed it as well, if I was doing a bit of tanking. The whole toolkit just seems really nice. I'm not going to say it's like the best of everything, but it just looks like it is a class and a spec that is going to be able to cope in any situation. I have mentioned before in the rep videos that there are some fights, not in this dungeon so much, but in some dungeons where it actually looks like they've been designed for demon hunters to show off in, because there's so much movement and having to move out and back in again really quickly and quite regularly, in a way that really only demon hunters can. Monks a little bit perhaps, but not to the same extent as demon hunters. Right, this ball ache of a boss, we've got heroism going, so we'll just go straight into metamorphosis, sod it, don't bother with the I-beam first. It was on cooldown anyway, it's still got a few seconds to go. I will use it during metamorphosis though, I think. But, oh, this is just such a nightmare when all your DPS melee, because it's just green shit everywhere. I think there's ads that's supposed to come in, I forget these fights. I'll have to learn them properly for when it all goes live. And, you don't really see them properly if someone does not really point it out. And the heat, I mean, we've already had, you know, situations where it's taken us a while to get healed up. And now that there's 4 of us all taking stupid amounts of damage on this bloody boss, I think the healer's going to have a bit of a struggle there. Just a bit of vengeful retreat and thingy in as well to get a bit of extra damage going. But it's just, I mean, it's such a frantic playstyle. And I haven't got, I'm not using, oh there we go, I need to use me throw glaive. And the tank's dead, this is not good. But I haven't got Tell Me When set up. Tell Me When does actually work. I've got it set up on a Rep Paladin. I haven't bothered so much on this one. I need to. I did have it set up and then got disconnected and it all sort of deleted the profile. So I'll have to set that up again so that I'm not forgetting things like that. But mostly I haven't felt that I've needed it because most of the things you're keeping an eye on. But there are a lot of abilities that you're using in all situations. I mean, Throw Glaive you're using all the time. I'm generating my Fury all the time, Demon's Bite, and using Blade Dance all the time, using Fell Eruption all the time, which is from the talents, the single target stun that still does quite a lot of damage, using I-Beam whenever I can. Chaos Strike is just like filler when I've got Fury in there, but also using that when I can. I've got the trait on the artifact that means that can do some extra funniness as well. So yeah, our healer actually finished that boss off. So we can keep himself alive, but not us. Thanks very much. I'm not blaming the healer, actually, because it must be a nightmare, actually. Right, last boss, and let's see now. I-Beam, and then let's Make what we can of that. Onto the new ad. Into there. And then metamorphosis. Front load up on this. The warrior tank's doing quite a lot of damage, isn't he? Oh hell, I'm losing on damage. Where am I going? Get away. Right, on this fight, there's something funny. Like, you don't want him breaking all these bits of rock that are shooting out the ground. I'm pretty sure that's the case. He like smashes some of them up. You want to try and move him away from some of them, so that when there's something that happens, and you want to get behind it. So yeah, Warrior's actually doing really good damage. When you consider that Demon Hunter is clearly massively overtuned. The Ret Paladin is undertuned, by the way, so the contrast between Ret Paladins and Havoc Demon Hunters will look extremely stark at the moment. And as I say, these particular players are not using their Greater Blessing of Might, at least, which might mean they're not using other things as well as maybe they could be. I don't know. They might be. It might just be that. You get behind this. Oh, I got behind it very late and no one else bothered at all. So that's that gone. Oh well. So, no metamorphosis now. Without me cooldown. There is a trait that actually reduces the cooldown a bit. Nothing, not massively, but enough that might make a difference now and then in these sort of dungeon situations. But I'm going to be without it here. Getting all this damage. I take too much damage. Poor old healer. Right. Is anyone else going to tech this out with me? Yes, I think they are. Maybe. But it just feels like such a laugh. This, you can sort of dance around for fun. It just feels so different to the Ret completely. And apologies for those who don't play Red Paladins. I'm boring to stupid here. But just the mobility, just jumping around, don't care. If I find myself out of position, I can just charge in basically. If I want to get out of position really quickly, I can vengeful retreat. I thought it was doing that ability, then it wasn't. So I'm losing damage again. But again, I'm still way at the top of damage. Just having a laugh. And I went out far too early. I've not got very good uptime here at all. And back in really quickly. No problemo. While the poor old paladins struggle back on their three-legged donkeys. And let's take this. We better take this side out, actually. And again, I just use the AoE stun there. Forgot to use that because it's a DPS ability with no resource cost. Absolutely use it as a DPS ability, and forgetting to do that. So I do need to tell me when up. Set the tell me when up. Sorry, that'll do even more damage then. But it will be interesting to see what Blizzard are going to do because they've got to sort out Blade Dance. If we, go and look at the logs. It's absolute madness. The amount of damage that is doing, absolutely crazy. And I don't really know what they're going to do about that, but we'll just have to see. Hopefully in the next couple of builds they will sort of address that. I mean, how many other classes and specs can just come to a sheer drop and go, oh, that's nice, and not have to worry about finding another way down? There are some. This is by no means the only one. And of course in this zone we also have grapples, so we get an extra little bit of showing off as well, just for good measure. I put my wings on there just because I wasn't quite sure I was going to make it. But there we go. So stylish. This is such a stylish class. This is absolutely going to be my main alt. So I hope you found that useful. A look at what I think could be a nice set of coverall talents that would be useful for soloing as well as for dungeons. If you just wanted to do a quick dungeon run without having to change talents to min-max all the time. Plays really well, seems to synergize quite well as well, these abilities. Obviously overtuned at the moment, well overtuned. But we'll just have to wait that out and see what they do to change it. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and perhaps share it with people who also might find it useful. And until next time, I'll see you later.